Good day, everyone. Thank you for stopping by my channel. We're going to do something a little different today than an old radio. This is a Soundmatters SUBStage 100. The company that makes it, Soundmatters, used to make a lot of high-end speaker systems. And this is something that I bought from them while they were doing that. They've changed their focus now. They do more portable speaker systems. But back when I bought this, I think, and if you're an audiophile, you can leave me a comment, but I think these were pretty highly regarded as pretty nice stereo speakers and stereo equipment. This is their SUBStage, you guess. It's a subwoofer system with a woofer on top and two little downward firing speakers on the bottom. And this thing is built like a brick. And it's been a workhorse for me for, I can't tell you how long, 10, 15 years, something like that. They don't make them anymore, and recently it stopped working. And it stopped working. I'll go on a little bit of a tangent, and then we'll get back to this. But I cut the cord from Cox Cable just a few months ago. After 22 years, it got to be more money than made sense, and I may do a cord cutting video at some point because just about my experience, because there's probably 10,000, 100,000 of those kinds of videos out on YouTube. But there were some things to think about when you're going to do it. And I finally cut the cord. Okay, so my Cox equipment was all integrated into my home stereo system. And when I began to undo those things, nothing was powered up that I was aware of, but I heard sort of a click or a pop. I don't know if I heard it through the speakers or I just heard something, a spark or something like that. But after that, this no longer worked. So I started looking around at who could repair it locally. No one wanted to take it on. So I called, well, I didn't call. Actually, I did call. I looked online for someone who could work on it. Went to the Soundmatters website, and there was a contact number. I called them. I got a hold of a technician there. He said, no, we don't make those anymore. He said, I had a rather large parts bin, and I repaired many of them through the years. He said, I've exhausted those. I have one or two of these that are working just here, and I could sell you one of those. Or he said, you can modify. He said, he recommended that you just modify this to go around the electronics. And he would do it very cheaply if I would ship this into him. This is a guy named Jim at Soundmatters. And I agreed that that's probably what I do, because this thing is really, like I said, it's built really solid. And you can see by its profile, it's not a great big huge box. You can hide this under a sofa or under a chair. It's perfect. It doesn't give you booming. It doesn't rattle the whole room, but it sounds really, really great. And so I said, well, I'm going to think about fixing it. I'll ship it in to you. He gave me the information. He sent me an email. And then I thought about that, and I said, well, I sent another email back to him, and I said, I mess with these old radios, and so if you're just going to bypass the electronics, you're just going to jump or something, perhaps that might be something that, I could handle. And so he sent me back the instructions of what he was going to do, and which I've got right here, and it doesn't really sound too bad. So rather than pay to ship it in and have them work on it for a pretty reasonable fee actually, and then ship it back, I'm just going to see if I can modify this thing to work according to these instructions. So that's what we're going to do today, and then after this we'll get back to old radios, but we're going to try and see if we can get this guy going based on the instructions I got from Soundmatters. So appreciate you being here. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up or you'd subscribe. I've got a few videos that I've done already. You can go back and look at some of those and give me a thumbs up if you like any of those. So appreciate you being here, and so let's see what we can do with this thing. Thank you. Okay, so item number one, of course, would just be to, according to the instructions, take the top off. This should be, I say knowingly, should be relatively easy. That pops off pretty easy. Let's try this side. Okay. So there's that. This thing's really been in pretty good shape for having been left to its own, left to itself all these years. You know, it's not all torn up. So let's just get some of this. Okay. So according to my instructions, part one's done. Then the next step is to remove the screws holding on the 6-inch woofer. So we'll do that now. Next in the list was to suggested that I remove this sticker to get to the bolt underneath that's holding the woofer in. I think I'm just going to cut around the edge here and leave most of this sticker in place. But just cut a hole out where I can get to the bolt. Let's see if I can do that here. And I don't know if we'll try and put that back. That little sticker, we'll see. And these are metric, which is giving me some trouble. Let's see if this, well, I'll be darned. I have 2 metric Allen wrenches, and they're the ones I needed. So we'll undo this, and then the woofer should be free. We'll kind of see. The next step is not perfectly clear, but we'll kind of see what we have here. Let me zoom out a little bit. All right. Is it going to go any further? Don't want to hurt anything. There we go. Okay. So now we need to figure out, let me just read you this. Remove the bolt that's under the sticker. We just did that. Buy whatever speaker clips or binding posts you would like. Drill holes through the metal where you'd like to put the speaker clips or binding post, and attach the speaker wire from the 6-inch woofer to the speaker. Sorry, attach the speaker wire from the 6-inch woofer to the speaker clips or binding posts and make sure the holes are airtight when you fill the holes with the binding posts and speaker clips. You have to make sure that the bare speaker wire does not touch or make contact with the metal cabinet. Okay, so I don't know how far out I can get this, not very. And then I'm going to have to decide where to put the speaker clips. And I'll show you what I'm going to use. Hang on. Okay, so I was able to undo these little speaker leads right here from the woofer, and so I'm able to lift that out for the moment and set it aside. And that's going to help me see. Here's what I'm going to add is these little banana plugs. Well, they're also banana plugs, but you can put a speaker wire through there as well. And I got those because they're similar to the amp that's going to be driving it. This is what was suggested by the people at Soundmatters. So I bought this on Amazon, and it also has the same kind of connectors. These can either take banana plugs, or you can put a speaker wire through there. So now that I've got this open, you can see I need to mount these somewhere along the outside. There's not a lot of space down here along the bottom. Well, I say that. I think there's more space over here. Actually, because of, I don't know if you can see that, there's actually a post there that's threaded, but it's not used for anything, so it kind of is in the, that's probably where I prefer to do it, but it's kind of in the way, because these electronics are sort of pushed down farther. This is kind of sitting up a little bit up here, but that's a nice flat spot right there, and this has, you're never going to be able to see that, but let me try something. Does that help? See this little thing right here, and there's a little on the outside there's something threaded there coming in, so that's kind of, there's not really space to mount that. I could go from one side to the other of it, mount it over here or over there. Well, I think this is going to be, I think that's going to be fine. So we're going to drill a few holes, mount this in, solder a couple wires. Hopefully that'll be all it needs to get working again. Okay, so I took those plugs apart. I'm going to make some little marks here on the chassis where I need to drill a hole. I'm not sure of the size yet, but we'll figure that out in a minute. And we'll first drill some pilot holes in there, and then I'll find the right size drill to do it the rest of the way. So here's what I've done. I've made up 2 wires here and crimped on a connector. That's going to go where the positive and negative went before for the other connection that was here before. I'm going to use those here. And then these, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because you're never going to be able to see up under here, but we will attach this wire to the banana plug, the back side of the banana plug, crimp this down with the double nuts that are provided. Should hold it just fine, but I'm going to be doing that up in here, so there's no way I'm going to be able to get a shot of that. But that's what I'm going to do, and then as soon as I do that, we will we'll run a little test before I button it all back up. So the next thing we need to do is start the installation of this banana jack or banana receptacle. I don't know what the right term is. So we went ahead and took that thing completely apart and started with the receptacles, the banana receptacles, whatever you call them, on the outside of the speaker enclosure, and you put those through the holes we drilled, and there's a spacer, not spacer, but a washer and a lock washer and a nut. And so not a lot of room to work in there, but we managed to get those installed without, nice and secure without any problem. So again, this is tight quarters and you're not going to get a view, but it's time to attach the little wires that I made to the back side of the banana jacks. And we'll do that with this stripped wire on the end, and there's another washer and lock washer, and then a nut on top of that, which you can tighten down on the nut that's already there. And it is a mechanical connection, and hopefully that'll work, but it seems it seems really sturdy, so we'll see. So with those installed, before we put everything back together, I wanted to give it a little quick bench test, and so we plugged in our amplifier and our cables there and gave it a little test. Of course, that subwoofer sitting outside like that sounds awful, but everything worked. Everything worked, so I think we're done. So my next step was reassembly, and when I hit the button on the video to start taking video, apparently it didn't start. So I'll just show you what I did. It's just the opposite of what I did to take it apart. I turned it upside down. Kind of held the speaker up in here and put this bolt back in the bottom, then came through and tightened down these little Allen screws that were all around the speaker, put the top back on. That was it. So that's all there was to putting it back together, and for some reason my camera didn't take off and record that. So, and this is what it finally looks like in the back with these banana connectors. So there's one more thing to do, which is I'll hook this up, and we'll do a little quickie test and make sure it works. I did a bench test, before I put it back together. It seemed to be okay. We'll test it again. If that works, it's going back downstairs and back into the home stereo system. Okay, so this was the sub-amp knob sound that was recommended by the Soundmatters people. And here's the cord and hooking to the banana plugs in the back that I put in. So it's powered up. It's about half volume. So let me, I don't think just for bass notes I'll get any kind of copyright problems, but let's play a little bit and see what it sounds like. I'm not sure how well that comes through a small speaker, but when you're listening on the other end, but it sounds really good. Here you can see this thing rattling, and I can hear stuff rattling on my bench, so works great. So thanks for watching. That's it. This is going back downstairs, and another decade or two of use, I hope. Thanks a lot, and appreciate you watching.